So this fan film about Wolverine in the Viking Age is currently going viral. And while I appreciate the beautiful thumbnail, the camera work, the action-packed fight choreography, the gore effects, and all these aspects which show that the fan film was made by very competent and skilled filmmakers, I don't really like the costumes because the fan film is trying to portray a certain time period, but those costumes are pure fantasy. To this, someone might say, "It's a fan film about comic book characters. What the fuck are you talking about?" But that's not the point. I don't want to complain just about this fan film here, because this is just a symptom of a bigger issue. What I don't like is that the so-called History Channel made this little show called Vikings. You might have heard about it. There's also the Last Kingdom show. And both of these popularized this idea of warriors with side cuts, man buns, tattoos with runes on their head, leather armors, furs, and so on. These shows then clearly influenced Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Even Vardruna worked on the soundtrack for the game, so it's clear where the inspiration came from. And now every time someone wants to dress in a costume from a Viking age, it looks like this, and most people think that this is how the time period looked like. That's the problem here. I don't have an issue with a fan film about Wolverine in the Viking age. In fact, I think it's a cool idea. I just hate that this became a standard go-to look for every quote-unquote barbarian from the early medieval period, and most people think that this is how it actually looked like. People often use this dumb argument that a movie or a show is not a documentary and it's supposed to be entertaining and look cool, not bore you with historical details. I have two objections to this. First one is that historically inaccurate movies, shows, and video games distort the public's view of how actual history looked, and it further spreads misinformation. Few shows like Vikings and The Last Kingdom can influence the look of a video game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and all of these then influence other projects which are made by people who want to depict the Viking Age but have no idea how it looked like, and then it also influences the general public's view of that time period, and you see it everywhere eventually. That's what I hate about this. So if anyone wants to make a historical movie but they have this attitude that actual history is boring and you need to make it look cool for it to be entertaining, they should then either make sure that everybody knows it has nothing to do with actual history and it's pure fantasy, only loosely inspired by history, or if they want to claim it's historical, then they should at least try their best to make it historically accurate. And going back to that fan film about Wolverine, it's obvious that this is fantasy since there are mutants, but are we sure that normies understand that the costumes are pure fantasy as well? Because I'm not sure most people understand that. This look keeps appearing over and over, and people are presenting it as something Viking-esque, so it's clear that most of them don't realize that this has nothing to do with history. My other objection to that dumb argument is that you can have movies which are both entertaining and trying their best to be historically accurate, like let's say The Northman or Outlaw King. Now, of course these are not perfect either, but the important thing is that they are trying to be better than your average historical movie made by Hollywood. Some reenactors have a good motto, which says it can always be better. And that's what I want to see, improvement. Which can be slow at times, but it should be constant. I don't want to see stagnation. You might be asking, why is this important? Most people don't care about historical accuracy anyway, and only some history nerds appreciate this. My answer is that the more you find out about historical accuracy, the more you'll see how much cooler the actual history often is compared to what Hollywood think it's cool. And once you know what's historically accurate, you'll actually start to view the quote-unquote cool Hollywood stuff as cringe. So this is only about showing people that history can be cool and getting it in front of their eyes. Look at Kingdom Come Deliverance. When Warhorse were going to different publishers and searching for someone who would invest in their game, everybody told them that people won't care about historically accurate games set in medieval Bohemia with no dragons and magic. But Warhorse were convinced that there is a demand for it, so they had to go to Kickstarter, and lo and behold, it was a huge success, and it looks like the sequel will be even bigger. And look at how popular Manor Lords is now. The fact that something doesn't seem popular at the first glance doesn't mean you can't popularize it if you'll get it in front of enough people and show them it can in fact be cool. If costume departments would start creating historically accurate costumes more often, they could be then used in other movies and shows. It's sort of like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. So anyway, I thought that I'll give my 2 cents and make a short video about this. I hope it makes sense. See you next time.